Okay, I decided to show how to put these journal pages in. This is kind of part 3 of this journal. It's a garden journal for my niece, Elaina. So I took a piece of cardstock and I cut it about 1.5 inches wide. And I'm going to mark from the top of this, I'm going to turn it over so I can really see it. From the very top of this journal cover to this part of the journal cover. And I have so many, I'm going to trim this off, it's a little zigzaggedy. So many templates in my little folder here, but every time it seems to be a little different. Okay, so then you're going to make this a T, you can see that at the top, so that you know that that's the top where you're going to set this every time. All right, so now we're going to fold this in half. Because we're going to wedge this, and I'm using a foam book, a heavy foam book. Okay. So this is going to be the right height for that. Then I'm going to take the middle journal page, journal signature, and I'm probably going to put this in first. But you can mark all your pages. Okay, so you know this is the top of the book. So you want your you want this to be the center, your whole, most of the time we go one. Okay, so before we get to that, let me mark, this is the top of my journal page right here. Okay, but this is the top of my book. So when I'm marking it, and this is the bottom of my journal page, and this is the bottom, but this is the end of this is the bottom of the actual cover. Okay, my journal pages might be a little bit larger than normal, so I'm going to mark the center. I'm going to mark 1 inch down first, right there. Okay, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to mark 1 inch up from where my pages start, not from where the journal starts. All right. Then I'm going to measure in between these two spots, which is 6.5. So that would be 3 1/4 would be the center. Okay. So that is where you're going to punch the holes. That's where we're going to punch the holes and wedged in here to fit inside of our journal cover. Okay. And then after I punch these holes, I will mark it in here. It's going to be hard because it's got lace, so it may not even, I may not be able to do it. But before that, we need to get everything clipped. And I thought I just, oh, there they are. What I didn't do is get the thread. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that all these pages are lined up where we want them, so that they're even across. And they don't all have to be the exact same spot either, but all centered, I mean, if they're different sizes. You just have to make sure that you obviously get the holes through a couple of them. I'm going to move that down a little bit. and then we'll move this one up a little, kind of center it between the two here, so the page is a little smaller. And that is the center of that signature. So I'm going to clip it on this side, and I'm going to clip it on this side at the end. Then I'll go back over here and clip and clip. Okay, so now all my pages should pretty much be in the center. So now this is the top of my book. This little line here is the top of my pages, and this line here should be the bottom of my pages. And I think this, I'm going to move this mark here. I think that's still the top of my book. Oh, I'll figure it out. Okay, so now we're going to punch a hole right through the center here. Through the center here, all the way through the center here. Okay, so now we're able to take that out. We've got our holes punched on this one. And then this is my center. So this is my template, and it's actually, probably should have made the template exactly the same size as my, but I didn't. Okay, so that's the top of the book, that's the bottom of the book, and we know that these are where I mark the pages. So I'm going to mark that, and we're going to mark these because that, hold on, let me get something darker. Okay, so we're going to mark the top of that. You can pretty much see that when you have a lot of lace, it's kind of hard to see. Okay, mark it right there. And right there, and right there. So I'm going to mark that pretty dark there. This pen is heat reactive. Okay. And the only reason I'm marking that there is because then I can go over here and mark for 2 and the third one. About the same here and here. And about the same here and here. Okay. So I am just going to go down, poke a hole in this one. And this one, and I hope I'm in the center. It looks like it. Oh, I forgot to put an extra binding in here. Well, I think it'll hold up, I hope. All right, so now we've got 3 holes out here. And then I'm going to move over and do one there, one here, and one here. Okay, so those holes are pretty well lined up. And then this hole. If I'd use my book to do it right. That's why I have the phone book. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okie dokie. So this one is going to be the one in the middle, the first signature. And I hope all is well with that. Let me see if I can find some thread. I hope I have enough of this because I am running low. I need to get some, okay, so I'm going to, put it about 4 or 5 inches out this way, and then 2 and 3. That should give me enough to secure it. And then here's my needle. Hopefully everybody can see. I don't know if I'm out of frame or not. Maybe I have been. Well, we shall see. This cord is pretty thick. There we go. Well, it probably won't slide out. That's a good thing. Okay, usually I clip this on here a little bit so that it doesn't go all the way through. So we're going to go the center first. And we're going to find the center of this one. Which is very difficult to see. There we go. Okay. And if you have a hard time pulling the needle through, just use a pair of pliers. Pull that tight. Okay. Then we go down to the bottom center, and then we come up through the bottom holes. It looks a lot harder than it really is. I mean, when the first time I did this, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can ever do this part. Okay, so that's done. So then we're going to go back to the top through this hole here and find the center hole here, which is right there. And then we're going to go back into the center hole here. And try to not split that thread in there. Okay. Then I take this part and slide it on this side so that I can tie around this. And then I'll just tie a little knot here and a couple times. Okay, then I just leave this dangle for now. I always never remember to leave enough to dangle down here, but oh well. Okay, so now that one's in. Okay. Make sure everything's nice in there. It is. Out here looks nice. We're going to cover it anyway. Okay, now the next page. Let's make it this one, because I think I want this one to be the first one that she sees when she opens the book. Try to use something a little bright. Okay. So now we get this all organized, our pages. This one, move it up a little bit, center it. Move that one down a little bit. Like I said, they don't have to be in here perfectly. And if it gets too thick, you can take things out of the pockets. Okay, that one's like a full-size page there. This is in the center there, and that is the center of the book. So this is where we're going to move this out of the way so we can make our marks. We've already made all the marks for the let me find my right template. Okay, so that right there is where we want that to be, and right there. Okay. And we need our punchy tool. And you put it in this little crevice here so that it punches straight down. Otherwise, it'll go sideways, and you won't like that because then your pages won't look right. Okay. Probably should have clipped that first. My pages might get all a little off. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll bring this back and get my string. Where are you, string? On the floor. Okay. I'm going to leave a little, oops, that's the wrong color. I'm going to leave a little bit more of a tail on this one. So 1, 2, 3. Take our needle, thread it. I don't like this thread, but when I first started buying the threads and stuff, I didn't know what kind I was going to use. Okay, so now we're doing the last one. So we're going to go through the center here. And we're going to find that hole. So sometimes it's just so hard to see. There we go. Okay. Pull that through. And also make sure that your book is not upside down, your journal. So let me check. That is correct. Okay, and I'm going to pull that tight. And we'll go down to the bottom. And kind of look inside here, and sometimes you don't hit all the pages. You can tell that it's kind of stopped. So, this one may have shifted just to here. Okay. My goodness. That was a challenge there. And if you think you're going to rip these pages, or that, you know, they're you can always, now see, that was a little short, and that's because, so hopefully this will be good enough to hold that page. But again, I'm just looking for the holes through the light. You can put like those little rings that you use in a notebook, just to give it a little extra stability. I feel like I've got, okay, that goes, I feel like my string is a little short. Oh well. We just won't have a bunch of charms hanging from it. Okay. Try to avoid splitting that thread. Okay. That's tight. Okay, so we got this one. This string, this side. Make sure everything's laying down. And tie a couple knots. Okay. Pretty good. Probably could have stopped at 2 signatures. All right, now for the front signature. Get our little book up, check it, make sure all the pages are going the right direction. They're all centered the way you want. Okay, this one is probably only going to be connected in that one spot. I think looks pretty good. So I get this on our template. Whoops. That's what I get for not paying attention. Okay, it's the top one. This black pen I'm using is called Frixion. It's made by Pilot, I believe. Pilot. And oddly enough, I use it in my quilting all the time. It goes away with a hot iron. So if you see these marks when you're finished, you can just take anything hot. You could just take, like this, you could heat it up and just go like that and it would go. It also erases. So once you're done, you can actually, that makes more sense probably, just because I use it on fabric. After you get your holes poked, you can always erase it. Okay, so this one we're going this way, and I'm going to turn this upside down so I can have easier access to it. I'll get some string over here. And 1, 2, and 3, and cut. Okay. My needle. Okay, so down through the center, and there was a little glitch in that. I thought I felt something, but it's not showable. Okay, and then we're going to find this hole here. And because I can't see it anymore, so when I can't see it, I'll take my pokey tool and go from the back side. See, my pokey tool sticking out there. Then I have a better idea of where the hole is. There we go. Takes a while. Sometimes it's very easy and other times it's not. Okay, and then I'll go through the bottom here. Probably the hardest one to do is that middle. But you gotta keep going straight through. Keep your needle straight. Then we're going to go all the way to the top. and through the hole. I don't have the strength to pull these through, so it's kind of good that I have that little tool to help. Okay, through the center, and try to see that you're going right through the center hole and not splitting that thread there. And I suppose if you split it, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but better not to. Okay, then we're going to take this to the other side. Take my needle off and tie a knot. Okay, so there we go. Take those off. And those ties came out. Look at the charms on those. Okay, so let me move this out of the way so you get a better view. All right, so there we go. Now all we have to do is tie a tie there to close it. All of our things are in there good. And then I'm going to put this lace around here like this, and that hides those strings. And I just kind of like to hide them. I don't know. Some people can do some real fancy stuff with it, but oops, sticks. So I'm going to put this fabric tack here. Glue this on right about there. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this off a little bit extra. And then I'm just going to let that sit and dry on this side. Then I can tug this over and do that side, and that way this won't stick down to my table or anything. But anyway, I think it looks kind of cute. And then we have our little charm here to put back on there, and anything else I decide to add to the front. I feel like I need to do something right there to stop that, because that's just so blunt, the end. But I will find something to go there. And that's the back. And we'll just do some touch-up work. This little journal goes inside of there. And then I also will put another note card in there from me. And I usually, in the back of the journal, I usually put something. Well, actually, this is where I put something from me back here. And then, but here I put a notice about what to do with your journal. I mean, what things you can do to utilize your journal for people who don't really know how to write in journals, because it's not even about writing in them. It's just making a note or two here and there. That's what I do. So like I'll pull this out, and if it was somebody's birthday that day, I would write it on that card. In here I might write something more important on the back of this one that happened that day. Maybe a new craft store just opened. I don't know. All right, well, I think this is the end for this, and I'll show you the total finished journal when I do it again, hopefully this evening or tomorrow morning. Thank you.